Hola estudiantes, este video es sobre otros mandatos, other commands. So today we're going to be going over usted commands, ustedes commands, and nosotros commands. So ustedes commands remember usted is the formal you, so it's still telling somebody to do something, saying like, hey, you, but this is like saying like you sir, you ma'am, somebody that you would call usted. Ustedes is the plural you, so this is like saying to a group of people, hey, you all do this task. And then nosotros, which means we. So this is like saying let's do such and such a verb, like let's go, let's eat, let's talk, etc. All right, so here's the good news about other commands. They share the same, write this down, they share the same rule as the negative two commands. They share the same rule as the negative two commands. And I want you to remind yourself, what are the steps to form negative two commands? We're going to use those same steps for these other commands. All right, so step one, what is it? Yep, go to yo. Step two, what is it? Drop the O, very good. Step 2B, you're going to what? Yep, check for cargars are. And remind yourself, C goes to QU, G goes to GU, and Z goes to C. And then step 3, add the opposite vowel ending. All right, so let's talk about the opposite vowel ending. By the way, if you're watching this video on mute, you're missing a lot. So make sure you write down what I say and not just what I write. The opposite vowel ending. So if I have a verb that ends in AR, we're going to switch the opposite vowel ending. For an usted command, it'll switch to an E. For an ustedes command, it'll switch to a EN. For a nosotros command, it'll switch to hemos. And then for verbs that end in ER or IR, the opposite would be for usted, I bet you can guess. A, ustedes, han, nosotros, hamos. So here's a couple example verbs. Let's think of the verb hablar, ends in AR. The usted command would be hable. The ustedes command would be hablen. And the nosotros command would be hablemos. So that's like telling one person talk, telling a group of people talk, and saying let's talk. A verb like correr would be, the usted form would be corra. The ustedes form would be corran. The nosotros form would be corramos. All right, next in your notes, I want you to write what these three commands would be for the verb vivir. Write all three forms. You should have written down viva, vivan, and vivamos. And then let's just do, just for an example, let's do the verb pagar, because that one is a cargar are. All right, so pagar, step 1, pago. Step 2, pag. Step 2b, change the G to GU. And then we would end up with pague, paguen, or paguemos, depending on which command we want to do. All right, so those are the steps to form usted, ustedes, and nosotros commands. Pretty much, if you know the negative two commands and how to go through those steps, you'll be fine with these three as well. All right, so one more little special note. in the nosotros command for the verb ir. The nosotros command, if it's affirmative, we say vamos, and if it's negative, we say no vayamos. So ir is just a little extra special, like in a regular. Also, dishes still applies to all of these, or if you preferred the rhyme, that also applies to all these. So, for example, dishes, if I was doing an usted command, we would be saying de, vaya, sea, haya, esté, sepa. If I was doing the ustedes command, den, there's an accent on de, but not on den. Den, vayan, sean, hayan, estén, and sepan. So ustedes sepa, ustedes sepan. And then for the nosotros command of those 6 verbs, demos, vayamos, seamos, hayamos, estemos, no acento, y sepamos. So those also still apply. All right, just a little bit of practice before we end the video. I'd like you to do the following verbs in your notes. First verb I'd like you to do is tener, and I'd like you to do it in all 3 forms, the usted, the ustedes, and the nosotros. The next verb I'd like you to put in your video notes is salir in all 3 forms. And then the last verb I'd like you to do is bailar in all 3 forms. All right, so you should have tenga, tengan, tengamos, salga, salgan, salgamos, baile, bailen, bailemos. Check and make sure you have those right. And then lastly, just for fun, I want you to tell me a food that you love and a food that you would never eat because you think it's gross. All right. Talk to you later. Hasta luego. Nos vemos en clase.